Happy holidays, everyone. I'm betting many of you are listening to this, nestled by a cozy fire with a mug of hot cocoa in hand.
Or maybe some eggnog.
Ooh, good one. Eggnog definitely screams holidays. But are you ready for a holiday tradition that's, well, a little more outside the box? We're going on a deep dive today to Japan.
Yeah, the land of amazing food, bullet trains, and Kentucky Fried Christmas. You heard me right. Japan has this really unique Christmas tradition.
It's true. It's become a cultural phenomenon. Millions of Japanese families actually eat KFC on Christmas Eve.
Hold up, really? Millions?
Billions. We're talking like an average of 3.6 million families. And get this, some KFC stores in Japan, they see their sales increase like tenfold during the holidays.
Oh, that's wild. Okay, so I'm picturing Christmas Eve in Japan. Are we talking like long lines outside KFC, people all bundled up holding those signature red and white buckets?
Oh, absolutely. It's a sight to see. People dressed in their best holiday outfits, patiently waiting to get their hands on those coveted buckets of fried chicken. Okay, that's a visual I did not expect. So it's not just the usual buckets, right? What else is on the menu for a Japanese KFC Christmas?
They go all out. Think Christmas cakes, champagne, even special commemorative plates. It's like a full-blown holiday experience, KFC style.
Wow. It's so different from like the traditional Western Christmas dinner.
Yeah.
Like a roast turkey or ham. It really shows you how much holiday traditions can vary around the world. But how did this whole KFC Christmas connection even start in Japan? Was it like a marketing master plan, or was it just a happy accident?
It's a great question, and it's kind of both, really. To understand this whole thing, we need to go back to the 1970s, when KFC first opened in Japan. The first store was in Nagoya, and the manager was this guy named Takeshi Okawara, and he sort of accidentally became the mastermind behind this whole tradition.
Takeshi Okawara, the accidental Colonel Sanders of Christmas. I am so intrigued. Tell me more.
So the story goes that Okawara overhears some expats talking about how much they missed having a traditional turkey dinner for Christmas. And that sparked an idea. He thought, hey, why not offer a party barrel of fried chicken as a festive alternative? And bam, the Kentucky for Christmas campaign was born in 1974.
Talk about a light bulb moment, right? But did it take off right away, or was it more of a slow burn?
It took a few years to gain traction, but by the 1980s, it was booming. And it wasn't just about the chicken, KFC in Japan, they really knew what they were doing.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting, right? It's not just about selling fried chicken. It's about tapping into something deeper, something cultural. So spill the marketing secrets. What made this campaign so successful?
Well, first, you have to remember the context. At the time, Christmas wasn't this huge cultural or religious event in Japan. Only a tiny percentage of people were Christian. There wasn't really a traditional Christmas meal like in the West. So KFC came in and kind of filled that void, offering something fun and new to celebrate with. They basically created a new tradition from scratch. They weren't trying to copy something else. They brought something fresh and exciting, and it really clicked with the Japanese market.
A total marketing win. It's crazy to think that they turned fried chicken into this iconic Christmas tradition.
Welcome back, everyone. We're diving deeper into this Kentucky Fried Christmas phenomenon. It's hard to believe, right? Fried chicken as a holiday staple in Japan.
I know, it's definitely not your typical Christmas dinner. But it really makes you think, doesn't it?
About what?
About how food and culture are so intertwined, and about how global brands can become part of local traditions in surprising ways.
Absolutely. It's a fascinating example of cultural globalization, right?
Hmm.
Ideas and traditions are always crossing borders, getting mixed up, and evolving into something new.
It's like a cultural mashup. And in this case, KFC managed to create something truly unique and lasting. But let's be real, a lot of marketing savvy went into making this happen, right?
Oh, definitely. There are some serious marketing lessons we can all learn from KFC's success in Japan.
Okay, so spill the marketing tea. What did they do so well?
Well, they really understood their target audience. They didn't try to force American Christmas traditions on Japan. Instead, they found a need and filled it in a way that resonated with Japanese culture.
So it's not just about selling a product, it's about understanding the cultural context.
Exactly. They were culturally sensitive. They realized that Christmas in Japan was this new, exciting thing, not deeply rooted in tradition. So they presented fried chicken as a fun, modern way to celebrate.
It's fascinating how they managed to create this whole new ritual around something as simple as fried chicken. But there's got to be more to it than just understanding the market. What were some of the specific strategies they used?
Well, for starters, they totally nailed the imagery. They turned Colonel Sanders into this Santa Claus figure. They dressed him up in a red suit and made him the face of Christmas in Japan.
So smart. They tapped into that universal love of a jolly, gift-giving figure.
And it worked perfectly, especially given the Japanese culture's respect for elders. Colonel Sanders became the symbol of wholesome Western holiday cheer.
It's amazing how they took this American icon and made him relevant in a completely different cultural setting.
And it wasn't just visuals. They also got strategic with their menu. They introduced special Christmas buckets with unique flavors and sides tailored for Japanese tastes. And they made pre-ordering a big deal, which created a sense of anticipation and made things super convenient for families.
That pre-ordering thing is brilliant. It takes all the stress out of Christmas Eve dinner prep. Okay, so they understood the culture, they nailed the imagery, and they made it convenient. But how did they weave this whole foreign concept of Christmas into the existing fabric of Japanese culture?
Japan was, and still is, in many ways, fascinated by Western culture. KFC really tapped into that. They didn't try to impose American traditions, but they presented fried chicken as a modern, accessible way to celebrate a holiday that was still new to many Japanese people.
So it was about adapting to the existing cultural trends, not trying to create something entirely new. They basically became part of this wave of Western influence while still respecting Japanese values.
Exactly. And I think that's a crucial point. They found a way to bridge the gap between two cultures, creating something that felt familiar and exciting at the same time.
This Kentucky Fried Christmas thing, it's deeper than it appears on the surface, isn't it? It's not just about fried chicken. It's about cultural exchange, marketing genius, and the evolution of traditions.
You got it. It's a story that has a lot to teach us about how cultures interact, how brands can shape perceptions, and how traditions are constantly being redefined. Welcome back for our final helping of Kentucky Fried Christmas. I hope you've saved room for dessert because we're about to unpack some juicy insights.
You know I love a good metaphor, especially when it involves food. But seriously, we've covered a lot of ground here, from marketing strategies to cultural dynamics. Now, I'm curious about the bigger picture. What can we, the listeners, learn from all of this?
Well, I think this story really challenges our assumptions about what traditions are and how they evolve. It's easy to think of them as these fixed, unchanging things, but the reality is they're constantly being shaped and reshaped by all sorts of factors.
So traditions aren't set in stone. They're more like, what's a good analogy? Like a river, constantly flowing and changing.
Exactly. Traditions are living, breathing things. They adapt to new environments, they blend with other traditions, and sometimes they even disappear altogether.
That's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it.
Yeah,
It means that the traditions we hold dear today might look completely different in the future, or they might not even exist anymore.
Right. And the Kentucky Fried Christmas phenomenon shows us how a new tradition can emerge from the most unexpected places and become deeply ingrained in a culture.
It makes you wonder what our current traditions will look like in 50 years.
Hmm.
Will our grandkids be celebrating Christmas with, I don't know, robot turkeys and virtual reality fireplaces?
Who knows? But one thing's for sure. Traditions will continue to evolve and adapt, and it's up to us to decide how we want to shape them.
So it's not just about clinging to the past, it's about finding ways to keep traditions relevant and meaningful for future generations.
Exactly. It's about honoring the spirit of a tradition while allowing it to grow and change with the times.
Speaking of change, let's talk about the business side of things for a minute.
Yeah.
What lessons can other brands learn from KFC's wild success in Japan?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is the importance of understanding your target audience and respecting their culture. KFC didn't just try to force-feed American Christmas traditions to the Japanese market. They listened, they learned, and they adapted.
So it's not just about being clever or catchy with your marketing, it's about being genuine and culturally sensitive.
Exactly. KFC's success wasn't about imposing their own values. It was about understanding and embracing the values of their target market.
It's amazing how they took something as American as fried chicken and turned it into a beloved Japanese Christmas tradition.
It just goes to show that anything is possible when you combine a great product with a deep understanding of your audience and a little bit of cultural magic.
Well, I think we've all learned a lot today about fried chicken, about Christmas, about culture, and about the power of marketing.
It's been a fascinating journey, hasn't it? And it all started with a simple question. What do people in Japan eat for Christmas?
And the answer, as we've discovered, is far more complex and intriguing than anyone could have imagined. It's a reminder that the world is full of surprises, and that even the most familiar things can have hidden depths and unexpected connections.
So true. I hope our listeners will walk away from this deep dive with a newfound curiosity about the world around them and a willingness to embrace the unexpected.
And maybe, just maybe, a craving for some fried chicken.
Happy holidays, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time, keep exploring.